Hello everyone, this is Gungun here. Hope you all are in happy mood. I certainly am, cause I just got around reading the latest chapter for One Piece chapter 990, and when did Oda deliver once again? Continuously he's been making chapters which have been just awesome to read, and they have massive build up towards the great fight which will be the conclusion for this amazing arc going on, the Wano Kuni arc. So without getting any further delay, let us start with the review for chapter 990, which is titled The Army of One. Let us first look into the cover story for this chapter. We have Lola and Chiffon who are pulling up their father from, well, he was chasing them by swimming across while Genbeji was escaping from the marines on the Dressrosa island, and well, while they are pulling him from the water, we have the text which says that hang on tight, our mother told us that our father was a clingy man who never let go no matter how many times he's kicked, and well, he just when after Big Mom kicked him out of the Totland, out of the whole cake chateau, he buried himself in the pleasure woods for years before, well, Luffy and the others showed up. So we know for a fact that yes, of course, he is a clingy one. Now that is out of the way, let's get ahead. So that was the chapter. We start off the chapter with an angry Sasaki who is angry on Kyoshiro for, well, tying him up to an island when Kyoshiro and the other samurai were invading the Onigashima island, and he's frustrated and he's angry with himself because he was tricked by a friend, Kyoshiro, and he trusted him because maybe, well, last time when Kyoshiro tied him to that tree, we just thought that what may have been that one of the Topiropo was just easily without any trouble or anything was tied by Kyoshiro to the tree, but now we know that they being friend may have played some role, and Kyoshiro may have tricked him saying that do that and something like that, and just tied Sasaki to the tree. But in the last chapter, you may remember when Big Mom was attacking Luffy, she blasted a hole from the Skull Mountain, and that attack blew away, and that was the attack which freed Sasaki from the tree. Now as Sasaki was being freed, he did mention that he does not care about the culture of Wano anymore. He is angry because he was tricked from one of the vessels of Oden, Kyoshiro, and now he is going to have to pay the price for betraying him. Sasaki is also astonished with the power of Big Mom, who just blew away the tree which was quite far ahead, and even now as she is fighting, there's quite a noise coming from the Skull Mountain, and he's amazed with who is that fighting because that noise is coming. But well, it is not only Big Mom who is into the battle. We have Kaido who is fighting up against, well, not yet, Kaido is not yet fighting, but well, the battle is going on from top of the skull of the mountain, and we cut to that for a short period of time where we see all the Minks who have already gone into their Sulong form are fighting Jack, and the numbers present there, they are all in a heated battle, and they are just attacking Jack from all the sides. Jack has already turned to his mammoth form because, well, his durability increases quite a bit when he is that mammoth form, and the rest of the samurai are seeing that from the sidelines, and also Kaido is also watching the fight as it's going on between the Jack and the Minks there. Now as one of the Mink flew away towards Kinemon, he is getting ready to attack, which just relieved me a bit because this scene was more like going on from the part of Bleach where all the lieutenants and the other smaller officers were fighting while all the captains and Aizen were just watching them. So I thought this may be something like that going on, but no, Kinemon is all ready to attack. But well, we have our great duo, the Inuarashi and Nekomamushi, saying that to wait, Kinemon, we have got this one's ours. And well, now we see the Sulong form for Kinemon and Nekomamushi, but well, still we have seen already Nekomamushis in silhouette, and this is not new because once again we see them in silhouette only. The Oda has not yet revealed what they look like. So Jack, seeing them, is kind of prepared to fight them because he is well aware that they are no small fries. He can just flew them. He has to fight them seriously, and they also charge towards him, and we cut from that back to the performance floor where we have King and Queen interacting for a bit. King mentions that Hyogoro of the Flowers is down there. He is also fighting. Now Queen, if you remember that Chopper fed Babanuki the ball from Tama and they tamed Babanuki, and he was still, I'm not forced exactly because he was well loyal to them for at that point. So he said Queen that everything was just fine, there was nothing much going on. But now Queen thinks that what did happen at the Udon, the Straw Hat led them into battle here. Something's definitely wrong here. And now we have quite the funny moment from King where he says that no, don't worry, I am not going to blame you. Well, that's normal up to now. But then he mentions that I did not have any expectations from you from the very beginning. So it's no big deal. And well, in the previous video also I mentioned that although Queen is there, he's protecting Kaido. He's not letting anyone go to the roof, but he's not actively taking part in the battle. And King also mentions the same here. He did not have high expectations of Queen because Queen does not take actively part in any kind. He's just chilling out there unless he needs to do something. And well, his introduction with that dance and all further confirms that yes, he is quite the laid back guy. But well, he is a calamity after all. He is nothing to be just shit upon. He is very powerful. He is the second in commander after King in the Beast Pirates. So he's not a joke. But well, continuing, King calls the Tobiropo, saying that he needs to get them now as the situation is out of hand. So he start calling the Tobiropo. First, before that, we cut to Drake and Hawkins, who are in the maybe in the Skull Mountain itself, and he is talking to Hawkins, saying that well, you betrayed Kid to join this group in the first place. Well, he did not mention Kid, but yeah, he said that you did not join this by choice. You were kinda forced because, well, when Kaido jumped from that 10,000 high sky island and somehow landed to the same place where they were meeting, Hawkins read his tarot cards and decided that, well, Kid has no chance of defeating Kaido and neither they escaping with their lives. So he decided to betray Kid and join Kaido at that time. But even now, Hawkins saying that no, I am not gonna turn my back towards the Beast Pirates. He's not gonna turn traitor. And now, just remember that this is not like he is with completely loyal towards the Beast Pirates. It's just that the chances of Beast Pirate winning are much greater than the Straw Hats. So he's just like, nah, I'm not gonna betray them. I'm not gonna turn traitor. And then he says that 1%. Now he just says and stops. So well, Drake is like, what do you mean by 1%? And Hawkins dropped that the chance of surviving a certain man is 1% for tomorrow morning. So who he may be talking about? Well, there are many candidates to that, and we will talk about that after the chapter. But now we have the communication between King and Drake. King gets to Drake using the Denden Mushi, and King mentions that the situation has changed up. Now we have 5,000 intruders for our feast, and we have a total of 30,000. So it's just gonna be a havoc. There's gonna be a massive party of killing, not feast of eating, but of killing now. And this is the biggest disaster since the foundation of Onigashima. He asks all of them to stop their internal power struggle. You may remember when the Tobiropo were introduced, it was Sasaki and who said that they are gonna take out one of the calamity after finding Yamato. But well, King says that now that report is on hold, capturing Yamato will get you nothing. And now we have Ulti. Once again, she's just furious and acting like a brat. Well, no one just gives a damn. Well, no one's quite serious about Ulti being a brat. Everyone just ignores her. They have accepted that yes, Ulti is that annoying little brat who just says anything she wants. So we have the scene where Ulti says to page 1 that, oh, I saw Yamato going upstairs. I was gonna ask you to give me a piggyback, right? That was funny. And King is there like, shut up, you little brats. And well, Ulti being Ulti, she says, who are you calling brats? And King once again ignores Ulti. He says that Kaido is up on the roof and the enemies are ascending the castle. You must do whatever you can to stop them. And he asks them to not underestimate him. Underestimate them, I must say, not him. Now it is quite the big deal because, well, we started off with Luffy, who barely punched a Sea King in the starting of the series, and now we have the right hand man of Kaido, King, who is saying do not underestimate the enemies. And obviously the enemies are led by Straw Hat. So well, our boys have made it big, and well, not if not where you are happy, then I don't know what will make you happy. Now who's who shows up to where X-Drake is, and he says that let us use this chaos to our advantage, and the fight he's going to get on is too much for him. So Drake is like, where are you going? And Sasaki mentions that he is going to kill the man he wants to kill, and says we are going to kill Queen, giving us the impression that yes, it is definitely Queen they are attacking and trying to eliminate. But well, we have Drake, who says that don't get me involved in this squabble of yours. Do you really want to lower our own strength right now with all the things going on? Because well, Drake is acting like a loyal member, but we know that he's the biggest traitor. Or traitor, I must say, he's the biggest undercover agent right now for the Marines in the Beast Pirate ranks. And we have Hawkins once again reading his cards, and who's who mentions that having Queen around will just drag them down. So we don't know that what Sasaki is planning after what he did later in the chapter. Let's see when we get there. Now we cut to the performance floor where all the numbers are now present. All of the numbers, as I mentioned earlier, are carrying kanabos like Kaido, and they are all attacking, and the samurais are just like, get the Straw Hats towards the castle, clear their way. And we have the Beast Pirates and the pirates from the ranks of Orochi, who are saying that you measly Yakuza prisoners, don't get ahead of yourself, we are stopping you, you are not going to get anywhere. And then next up we have the numbers attacking also the samurais, and the samurais are like, we have never seen such big creatures. Why, I don't know why they call them human beings, they look nothing like human beings. But well, I guess samurais are good of heart, so just like, but when they attack, we see that the samurais are nothing but bugs when compared to the size of creatures. They are not even as big as their toes. So this give us that size of difference between them and the numbers. Now we have the samurai who says that you make their way towards the castle, you don't have to fight them, conserve your strength for Kaido. But well, our Straw Hats are not just gonna let the samurai die and get there towards Kaido. They are obviously gonna join the fray. And when one of the young numbers, Goki, was about to attack the samurai, we have Zoro, who jumps up and just cut off his kanabo. And as that kanabo is falling down, we have Jinbei, who just holds that kanabo, that massive part, with his one hand, and just he is floating up in the sky. Now that's quite the big deal, because it's not like Jinbei is not strong enough to hold that, but that thing is massive. And I don't know Oda has taken into consideration or not, but the center of mass for this thing is just not gonna be like, oh, I will balance on Jinbei's one hand very easily. But well, that says how powerful Jinbei is. And Luffy also jumps into the fray. He says that don't pursue guys, don't worry, we will help you. And he also callbacks towards the fight with Oars during the Thriller Bark Island, where they all went up against one single creature who was that big. He was about 67 meters tall, if I remember correctly. As he charges up towards that number, he says that if we had that time, if it was that time, if we were that strong right now, we would have to team up against even one of them. But now things are different. and saying that he transforms into Gear 4. We see all the faces for Zoro, Nami, not Nami, Robin, Usopp, Sanji, and Brook. Zoro is bleeding. Well, he has been in quite some fights now. So, but bleeding is quite, I say, extreme for Zoro, because he has not shown any kind of fatigue as of yet. So, it may be possible that at one time he was fighting too many opponents, and one of them got the opportunity to get a sneak attack on him, or not sneak attack. His observation haki is quite strong, but there were just too many for him to handle. So he may get a little cut or something like that. But well, as Luffy transforms and charges towards the number, one of the other numbers also shows up. But we have Hyogoro, who mentions that Luffy right now just looks like a guard in duty, and well, Wano being a cultural land just shows that the faith of all the samurai from Luffy, that they see him as a guardian deity. So it's very positive, and it still look like we are just gonna win this fight, and things may turn out different on the later point. But well, for this chapter it's all happy to go. So let's continue. As Luffy is all ready to charge up, we cut out from there and we see Drake all blooded up, and he says that what's the meaning of this. And then we have the panel where we have Queen, Sasaki, as not Sasaki, we have Queen, Who's Who, and Hawkins standing there with Drake on his knees, coughing up blood. And as he's confused that what is going on, because DX Drake believed that he and Who's Who were gonna attack Queen, but well, maybe when they showed up, Who's Who just attacked Drake instead, and Queen may have joined him, because as here Who's Who mentions that he freed Law from back in Flower Capital when Hawkins were interrogating them. He says that we have someone who was watching. So we have Hawkins, who says that it cannot be anyone else, it would be you, but why would you do that now? And we have DX Drake, who mentions that to Who's Who that okay, now I know who you wanted to kill. And we have Queen, who shouts that it was you, trash. And Who's Who also mentions that it's an embarrassment that someone like DX Drake was not a member in their ranks. So it's just sucks for being DX Drake, I guess, right now, because well, we have a calamity, Tobiropo and Hawkins himself holding him down. So DX Drake is quite confused to what to do now. The others are just asking him questions. Who are you? Who else is with you? Who are you working with? And DX Drake is just like, you have to gonna kill me before I open my mouth. But well, Queen is quite confident in his torture methods, because he is in charge of Udon prison. For some reason he may have been torturing the prisoners. He certainly has been torturing the prisoners there to get the secrets out. So as they were interrogating him, there is a blast. It was Drake who just got away from there, and Who's Who says that after Drake he's an enemy. As Drake is falling from that floor, he transforms into his dinosaur form, and he's thinking to himself that what should I do now? Where should I run? Should I go back to Navy? But well, that's too late for that, as he mentions. And when he is falling, he says that out of the way, Juki, and he just attacks the number from right behind with his Excalibur. And we all know for a fact that yes, Excalibur, what an attack name it is. As he finished attacking, all the samurai are confused. Why did he attack an number? Because he is also a member of Tobiropo, of the Beast Pirates. But well, we have the inner monologue with Drake. He says, if there is hope left, there is just one. And well, if you may have watched the video on my chapter 1990 predictions, I mentioned that when Drake and Kobe were contacting, Kobe may have asked Drake to cooperate with Luffy, because if anyone can do something, it is none other than Luffy himself. He says that trust me, Luffy is amazing. So as they complete their attacks, we have Drake, and he says that for the reasons I cannot say right now, I am an army of one, please let me fight on your side. And Luffy, well, he's confused because he was ready to fight Drake, but now he is asking them to join them. So that's quite interesting. But well, the chapter title was for Drake, as he just coming out from the floor, he attacked one of the numbers and put him down. So Drake is also just nothing to be shit upon. Well, Huzu also said that the one he wanted to kill was too strong for him, and if it was Drake, so we can say that the power gap between Huzu and Drake is not much. So Drake is quite the strong. And now getting towards the thing which I wanted to discuss earlier, the part where Hawkins mentioned that there is the survival chance of a certain someone is as low as 1%, and Drake obviously says it sucks to be him. Now with that, it may be possible that it was Drake who was saying that it was Hawkins who was saying about Drake, and well, Drake did say it sucks to be him, so it is possible that it is him only, or it may also be in Law, because Law was the one who escaped from there, and Hawkins may be looking at his tarot cards for the survival chance of Law. And well, there's always the possibility that he was looking for Kaido or Luffy himself. Well, it is Kaido. I don't think it's as low as 1%, because 1% for a Kaido with his crew of 30,000 is too low. So it may be possible that it is for Luffy. But if it turns out that it was for Kaido, man, the Straw Hats are just wrecking havoc. I'm telling you right now. If it turns out that after the end we just find out that it was for Kaido, you be assured that this fight just was epic. Now there's also a little panel after who mentioned that he's going to kill someone. Hawkins is still reading his tarot cards and he's still visibly confused, so he's looking at many things right time. So maybe we can get to know about what all things he looked up in this tarot cards, what all chances, what all titles he may be looking at. And yeah, well, this is it for this one. If you enjoyed, do hit like, comment and subscribe. If you want to be notified for future videos, do ring that notification bell. And have a good day or night everybody, for whichever time zone you are. Signing out.